Good evening. Welcome to the August 30th, 2016 meeting of the Millis School Committee. I'll start by announcing the meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on Mondays at 7 o'clock on Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 37. Start with a roll call. Jen?
Present.
Steve?
Present.
Nancy is
Here.
Sean?
Here.
Denise?
Here.
All right. Jody, do we have anybody standing for open session?
We do not.
Okay. Well, by the time this is on TV, we'll welcome everybody back for the first couple days of school. This is our first meeting back from the summer. We had a couple meetings over the summer, but so we'll move everybody in open session. Action items. First thing, consideration to approve school committee meeting minutes for June 21st. I'll take the motion for the meeting minutes, the working session, and the executive session.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I make a motion to approve the school committee minutes, the working session minutes, and the executive session minutes from June 21st, 2016.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we're going to, April will come up and we're going to vote our FY16 recast budget. So after all of the books have been closed on fiscal 16, we have the report from April here, and we will vote all the reorganization and transfers. This is reflective of all the transfers that took place, so we just take a vote on the final appropriations.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So FY16, we had a pretty warm winter, which is good. We saved in utilities, and we also saved a lot from solar. So because of those savings, we could cover like the Clyde Brown roof repairs, and also bus repairs and maintenance, and also like other building maintenance items.
How much did we save, April?
We total saved about $60,000, close to that amount.
And how much is the roof repair at the Clyde Brown?
Clyde Brown total, I need to look at the details.
It was approximately 13,000 for the tarps, and
Yeah.
then another, I want to say about 5,000–6,000 for other patching of the rubber membrane.
So just shy of 20,000?
20,000.
And we also did all the transfers, as Mark just said. We processed all those in the fourth quarter.
And through, let's see, everything has been spent, with the exception of $211. So is that $211 that gets turned back? Right. No.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I make a motion to approve the FY16 recast budget as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll do the FY17 appropriation as our planned allocations for this coming year.
For FY16 budget allocated, we incorporated about $20–30,000 in staff reduction, and also $56,000 from expenditures. So from the preliminary budget. So the remaining deficit of about $90,000 was reached through $60,000 in hiring savings, and using the reduction education reform line for appropriate lane changes for the staff. So actually this year we had more staff members who got the lane changes than previous years. And we are going to give you the updated budget book pages after the end of report is all finalized.
I know when the state's budget came out, the kindergarten grant that we have gotten previous years is not coming, so that 30,000 is not going to cover. So we've absorbed that through
School choice.
School choice fund, yes.
So that's why,
So we had a $90,000 operating budget deficit, which we are now going to cover through $60,000 in staff and hiring reductions, and $30,000 in lanes not met.
correct.
Is that,
Yeah,
Right.
we went through
And then an
everything.
additional 30 from the state grant that's coming, that's being absorbed in school choice.
so we need to cover $30,000 in kindergarten grant that we didn't receive, and we're gonna do that from school choice.
So, and that's already reflected in the
In the choice.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, if I may, the kindergarten grant was actually $48,000, and that is reflected in the note at the bottom of your choice history, that we then had to cover those salaries out of choice.
So, interestingly enough, as we talked about last May, when the town's operating budget, when we were going to town meeting, and there was a $70,000 increase in local aid, really, it was moving money from one pocket to the other in terms of total cash coming to Millis through grants and local aid. So of the 70, 48 of it is coming out of the kindergarten grant that we used to get. So as we move through this fiscal year and look at the November town meeting, and there's discussions about funding and operating budgets and funding sources and increases from local aid, we'll need to be cognizant of reminding people of this reduction that we've absorbed this year. So it's proven helpful that we didn't allocate that $70,000 at town meeting in May. Anybody have any other questions, comments? Then I will entertain a motion on the recast budget.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I make a motion that we accept the FY17 allocated budget as presented.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, do we have to make a motion for the school choice use?
Nope. Just so I know we have, you want to go over school choice, or I can just go
Just
through?
quickly go over the school choice. We carried over $427,000 from prior year, and also we are expecting to receive approximately $375,000 from the state, and we plan to spend $446,000. Most of them for salaries, because previously we already budgeted, plus the $48K that we couldn't receive from the state for kindergarten grants. And also we have 0.2 FTE increase for the science teacher, about $12K.
Okay, so we're ending the year at 427, we're spending about 70 more than we're bringing in. So 350,000 if we do nothing else and have the year go as planned, which is a little bit better than what we had been looking at in May, but still doesn't give us a ton of room over our required minimum for a lot of extra things or unpredicted things at this point.
Do you want to go through all the revolving fund, or just take a look at questions?
Yeah, I mean, if you have things in any of them, none of it jumped out at me. If there's things in here that we should know about.
No, yes.
Mr. Chair, just one comment. The transportation revolving account does not yet reflect the wheelchair ban that we authorized last summer, just because that Mary Jane Driscoll, our transportation director, is still awaiting a final quote from Ford, and so it's in progress, but So the transportation will go down by I believe it was 47,000, the wheelchair ban, which was approved last spring.
Mr. Chair, where do we stand on transferring extended day budget material from Excel in the town system to our system? As the director retires very shortly, this is something that we have been talking about, and we brought this up when she announced her retirement. What is the plan, and where do we stand on that plan?
I can speak to that, Mr. Chair. We will be working after payroll gets settled in our office. For the current personnel, we will be working with both Kathy Tosi and our new hire, we're very excited about, Jean Noonan, to bring that payroll into our budget. As you know, the town has also had quite a bit of changeover this year, so there are still a lot of changes taking place, so I would anticipate that it would happen this school year.
So we're gonna do both salary and expenses, we're not leaving one out, we're gonna look at all money in, all money out, on both salary and expenses.
Right.
Should be in our micro budget system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And work with the town.
Sure.
To kind of best facilitate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is consideration to appoint a representative to the ACCEPT board and the TEC board.
Mr. Chair, the superintendent generally is the representative to the ACCEPT board, and Mrs. Denise Gibbons has been our representative the past year to the TEC board. Or has it been 2 years now? 2 years.
I know.
Time flies.
Would you like to say that person?
Yes, I'll
All right. So I would entertain- You have to make a motion?
I think so.
Yeah,
We forced her into it 2 years ago.
because then we give them our minutes as to them, and they have to, the collaboratives then have to submit it to the state. So yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
So,
I happily nominate Ms. Denise Gibbons to serve as the school committee representative on the TEC board for the upcoming school year.
Second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then Nancy as well.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to do Nancy as well. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Catalano.
I nominate that the superintendent represent the school committee on the ACCEPT board for the upcoming academic year.
And TEC. And TEC.
Oh, TEC as well?
No,
No, she's
just
back.
accept.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just ACCEPT.
Correct.
Just ACCEPT.
And moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Those are our action items. No student representatives tonight, no teacher representatives. Superintendent's report. I think Nancy's going to flip and do the new hires first, and then we can leverage the warrants, do the warrant discussion.
Okay, thank you. We are very pleased to announce that John Engler has been hired as the new Director of Facilities. John comes to us with 20 years managing the Xfinity Center and has a Bachelor of Science in Facility Management from Bridgewater State. He also, prior to his experience at the Xfinity Center, was at Patriot Stadium before it became Gillette Stadium. So John has been part-time this past week and has already proven to be very valuable to us, and we are excited to announce that. We also have a new school nurse at the middle high school. Lynn Molinari joins us, and Lynn has a master's degree in nursing from Boston College. She has worked as a substitute nurse for us and also has been a registered nurse at the Metro West Medical Center in the past. For a few years now, she has been the clinical supervisor for nursing students getting their degrees at Boston College and Regis College, and she's certified in pediatric advanced life support. Jean Noonan, as I mentioned, will be our new director of extended day. Kathy Tosi, after many years, wonderful years with us, is retiring as of October 2nd. So Jean will be joining us. Jean has 17 years experience in the Wilmington Public Schools overseeing their extended day program, and much like Kathy has done, has grown it from a very small program to over 500 students at 7 different schools. But she lives nearby, and she is thrilled to join Millis and our small school big family. She has a master's degree in elementary education from UMass and a bachelor's from Merrimack College in mathematics. Lauren Turco Scotland is rejoining us. Lauren used to be a speech and language assistant with us, and then when she got her master's degree in special education from Simmons College, she went to work full-time at the Accept Collaborative because we did not have any openings at the time. She also has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Communication Disorders from UMass Amherst, and she will be, she has a sub-separate classroom in the middle school, so we're thrilled to have Lauren back. Madison Weber will be our .4 art teacher in the middle school. Madison joins us with a bachelor's degree from Framingham State University. She's had 2 years teaching experience at the Horace Mann Middle School in Franklin, and also teaches at the Franklin Art Center, and is a photographer and has her own business doing photography. She is a great addition as well. Arpana George has been with us last year as a long-term substitute in 8th grade mathematics and did a wonderful job. So she is taking the 1-year maternity leave for Michelle Panciocco in middle school math, 6th grade math. She has a master's degree in from the University of Mumbai in India, and Arpana has done a fabulous job. She is a 1-year maternity leave son. Sherry Craig is joining us as our high school special education teacher. Sherry comes to us from the Stoneham Public Schools and has been there for 10 years, and people there spoke very, very highly of her. We're loath to see her go, but she has relocated closer to us, and she has a bachelor's in special education from Leslie College. And she, prior to Stoneham, she also worked in the Wakefield Public Schools for 6 years. That is if I may, before we speak about warrants, if I may just mention a few things that we have had a wonderful start of professional development yesterday and today for teachers. I'd like to thank them and the administrative team for really putting together some wonderful professional development around personalized learning, focused on 21st century skills through universal design for learning. You have a handout in bright yellow that shows the tenets of what we believe are the crucial things, components of personalized learning, project-based learning, universal design, Blended learning, we now have over 1,400 devices in Millis for students to use at various either computer labs or mobile labs or the one-to-one initiatives. So that's a wonderful resource for teachers to use to help personalize the learning, and everything we do in technology is to enhance their learning. Also, as you can see from the handout, the foundation is a strong foundation in social, emotional, and behavioral health and wellness, which is a strength in Millis as well. So we intend to carry on and deepen our initiatives, and teachers are very excited, and I think we'll do some great things with kids this year. We also have a new website in order to enhance our communications with parents in the community. The safety task force has already met with fire chief and police officers, the acting police chief, and our school resource officer. One of our priorities is to see if we can increase the hours. Both police and schools would like to increase the hours for the school resource officer, because he can focus on a lot of preventative things that really make a difference for kids. We've discussed our evacuation plans and set those dates, and we will be meeting again to plan our other safety drills, including armed intruder drills. Athletics is up and running, and there's great participation across the board, and we're very excited about the potential for athletics this year. The marching band has been out there already practicing, and that's like the sign that school is beginning for me, because they're out right outside my window and I love to listen to them. So I think we will have a very successful opening of school tomorrow, and I want to thank everybody. The tech department has done a tremendous job. Custodians, especially during this transition time, they've stepped up and all taken a real leadership role to get the buildings ready for kids. And oh, I neglected to mention Sean Fallon, who has been our kitchen manager, is now the food service director for Medway Millis, the Chartwell's program. And I know Sean will do a great job as well. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Nancy, of those 1,400 devices, are all of them ready and up and ready to go for the arrival of the students tomorrow?
Yes, there are a few that are, as they maintain and clean them and maintain them over the summer, there are a handful that are still
but not
being repaired.
Like years past where we had
No.
significant amounts not ready.
We
So
are,
other than the broken down one that we discovered when we're upgrading,
right.
we are ready to go with our technology.
We are in very good shape. The computer labs, the network, because the real delay last year, well, not delay, but the challenge last year at the beginning of the year was the new network. That is up and running very well. The labs are in good shape. The iPads are all ready to go. Kids, we actually didn't collect all the iPads so that kids could have them over the summer. And so as they come back in, there may be a few that need repairing, etc. And we have Chromebooks and the mobile labs of Chromebooks that will be both in the 3rd and 4th grade and the middle school. So it's exciting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we are going to review the warrants and vote on which warrant articles we want to submit to the Board of Selectmen for the November town meeting. They are closing the warrant on September 12th, which is much earlier than what they've normally done, and so where usually we take at least one and most of the time 2 meetings to review these and get back, we unfortunately, in order to guarantee that they'll get consideration to be put on the warrant, we have to vote them tonight. I did speak briefly with the chair of the selectmen last night after their meeting to try and gauge what kind of articles they are looking to entertain or want to, and didn't get much. I believe that the intent is that they want to get back to just putting emergency articles up or things that for some reason, some legal or technical reason, couldn't be addressed in November. The one item that he did mention he knew of was, I forget the specific subject, but it had to do with the sewer project, that they had to defer the article last May because it wasn't ready, and now it will be. So I had asked Nancy last week to pull together articles that we had not had funded in previous town meetings, and then a couple of new ones. The first one on our list is to reopen the FY17 budget. I don't think that this is something that necessarily should be done, but again, without knowing, based on the conversation with the selectmen last night, they're not intending or looking to have an article that reopens the budget, which personally I would be perfectly fine with. My thought here originally was to ensure that if there was an article opening the budget, that the school line item was spoken to. I don't know how limited you can write one, so I didn't want us to be in a situation where other line items could be adjusted and the school couldn't. So that was my thought process on this, not that I'm advocating for it, but just more as a protection for the school budget. The Board of Selectmen last night, moving on to the second one, the Board of Selectmen, they voted last night to put the Article 97 land swap on, so we don't have to put that on. Then these next few are, as you read down, middle school, high school auditorium, capital, Clyde-bound roof analysis and repair. Our new facilities director is bringing some people in and getting estimates on what kind of work could be done to fix or to better repair the roof at Clyde Brown in the short term.
I do have, Mr. Chair, more information on that already.
Okay.
Because John Engler has been able to get a roofer to come out, take a look at it, analyze the situation, and the estimate is for about $24,000-25,000 to do an overlay on the two sections that currently have tarp. The tarp is now leaking, it has ripped. It was a temporary, we knew, fix, and so the $24,000-25,000 is a good estimate of not ripping off the shingles, but just doing an overlay of shingles on that section of the roof.
Are there other sections that, I know you brought a roofer out. Are there other sections that, do we look at the whole roof? So this is, his recommendation is that we just overlay those two places.
That is the priority. The rubber membrane flat roof always has leaks. Each year a new seam will open up, but that is a different process. It's just a rubber membrane patch that goes over it, so we can do that as needed. It's not the whole
In-house on our own?
Well, last year we spent about $5,000 doing that within our budget, yes. So it's not as if the whole flat roof needs to be done. We just address those leaks as they occur. What is still undetermined that we'll get more information on is the other wing of Clyde Brown in the back of the building, the 3rd and 4th grade wing. We did have, last year, a little bit of leaking there, but there have not been active leaks there over the summer. So that is still a little bit of an unknown.
It also hasn't rained really.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
it's been very dry.
But it's enough that we've had leaks in
Right.
other areas.
We have had leaks in the 1st grade classrooms that are under the tarp.
Well, I'll hold my thoughts on
Yeah,
that until.
we'll just scan through these and then we can come back. Walkie-talkies for security, and there are 2 that have started. Walkie-talkies for security and replacement or repair of the intercom phones. I guess we'll just hold the discussion. I'll just skim through these because I have a question on that. Furniture, instructional materials, athletic equipment, and bathroom upgrades are, again, some of the things that just didn't get funded in May and would be more carryover to the fall. So, in reviewing this, I guess my last question is on the walkie-talkies and the replacement of the intercom. I know at least the intercom came up in the discussion of the after action. Are these on here as things that are recommendations out of the after action plan, or are a response to the after action plan, or are these just capital things that are just on the list?
I'd say both.
Okay.
Our walkie-talkies, and I do have more information that Mr. Engler just in the last 2 days has been able to gather. Walkie-talkies are old, and while they worked, last year during the first day back incident, we needed a few extra so we could hand them to police as they come on site, etc. So the recommendation now is actually that even though we've repaired some of those walkie-talkies during the year, it's battery life, they don't hold the charge anymore, etc. The recommendation now is to purchase 20 new ones, and they are about $240 each. So the actual estimate, now that I have more information, is $5,000 for walkie-talkies and its replacement rather than repairing and getting new batteries for the old ones. It's a better technology as well, and Mr. Engler can give you more information on that. So that would be $5,000. It is necessary for safety. The intercom, the PA system in the middle school last year had to be reset because of, we believe, the heat in the server room was too high. So we did that repair over the summer, which was to put air conditioning in the server room, which a server room needs air conditioning anyway, so it was a good thing to do. So that's the console. The console is very old, and people tell me that it was not replaced when we did the renovation in '99. So that's 17 years ago. And it wasn't replaced then, so it's much older than that. But this, we believe the console still functions well, but what is not working in some classrooms, a few, are the phones that for a teacher to call the office. So they might hear announcements, but they can't call out. So that we're in the process of getting those quotes. And I don't have a detailed quote on that yet.
So I just did, excluding the Article 97 land swap, which we don't have to do, I went ahead and numbered down the rest. So we have 13 articles here. What are people's initial thoughts on which ones if any to send out.
Mr. Chair, the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to remove the walkie-talkies from this list. It's $5,000. And take money from the school rental or something from, and do this now. I don't want to put something that's a safety issue and roll the dice.
Yep.
I'd rather authorize that tonight if we have to take a vote and start that process immediately. And if 5,000, I mean, I'm not saying we go and just continue to spend, but don't, if you need to buy some more radios, let's make sure we give you enough money to get the appropriate amount. Even in the fact that, even if we had to get extra and we had to give it to 1 or 2 classrooms in the meantime prior to doing that, I'd rather have that flexibility. So that'd be my first just thought is, let's remove that and do that because it's a safety issue.
Mr. Chair. I guess I'm a little torn. Some of these items, just by attending town meeting, anyone can tell that the lighting, the audio, the video, it's all really failing and old and antiquated. And so part of me wants to fund those items through a town meeting process, and the other part of me thinks we have other items that are probably a little more urgent than those. I feel like we've self-edited for so many years on the things that we need. Walking through our schools, we obviously need to keep updating them. And by not presenting the town with the full picture of what we need, I feel like I'm not sure which way to approach it strategically. Do we show everyone all of our needs, or do we try and hold them back because we know that money's tight and it's unlikely they'll pass?
So there is, in tonight's vote, what we are doing is we are sending up, I would look at, what we send up is tonight is the most that we're going to put up there. Again, the difficulty in this, and I shared this with the selectmen last night, the difficulty in the timing and the way that they are distributing and the process they're undertaking this fall is that we don't have that time where we normally see what type of articles are being up, and there's a collaboration and there's a decision of how school committee, the selectmen, the finance committee are going to approach which articles to review and what type of process. We're void of that, unfortunately. And so, however, what we do have the opportunity to do is if we were to choose to send all of these up, the selectmen would have to formally vote to put them on, which they have the right to not put some of these on. The other piece is we could also, between now and really when it goes to print, request that some of them be taken off.
Would they still be there though, and then the recommendation is to dismiss?
It would depend. It would be either or. So depending on the timing and the process that they go through, they could either, if the selectmen decided to open the warrant again and remove some, they could do that, or they could not do that, and then it could just be recommended to dismiss. And we would just go to the finance committee and explain that, we're fully aware, but they're in the same, the finance committee is in the same time predicament that we are with the schedule that's been released. They are not, schedule has them not receiving the warrant until October 4th. Not seeing anything from the warrant until October 4th, which only gives them a couple of weeks prior to it going to print, where normally they have at least a month of meetings and time to deliberate and evaluate.
Chair.
Yep.
So one that's a hot button of mine that you obviously know is the bathrooms, and $10,000 it seems like it's scratching the surface for the bathrooms in these schools. And the middle high school, I'll leave out the adjectives, I just don't like the bathrooms situation. So those to me seem very important, but I mean, I certainly see here the instructional materials, and to finish the alignment to the general science standards, that seems really important to me. And these other items, I think they're just as important. I mean, from a furniture perspective, I don't know, do we have completely broken cafe tables? Are they hazardous? If so, then.
They're hazardous only if we have to evacuate quickly from the cafeteria because they have loose plastic chairs, so round tables with 6-8 chairs that are crowded together, whereas the new replacement chairs we're purchasing are fold up and with the seat attached, so that easier for custodians to fold up, move to the side, and then use the floor washer to wash the floor in, after lunch is done, but also easier, fewer chairs everywhere that kids could trip over if they have to evacuate quickly.
Or even just rushing to catch up with their friend, they could
Right.
hurt themselves. So,
Yes.
I mean, that sounds like a hazardous situation. So, I mean, between the furniture, the instructional materials, and then third in my mind to those is the bathrooms, but, you know, I don't know how these other items come into play, but I feel like we should put something on. I mean, we have needs, I don't think we can just,
I agree. My struggle is I don't know, based on what I was told last night, there are, as of right now, no articles, with the exception of one related to the sewer, that are on the warrant.
But that's their side. We
Complete.
are separate and distinct. The only reason why we have to go through there is the way that the bylaws are written. So part of me, and I echo Ms. Sol's comments, that we self-edit all the time. And I'm not sure it is always helpful to self-edit, because then eventually people are like, why didn't you tell us about this sooner? Why are we at a crisis moment? So my thought is, we put them all up, and then we go to Board of Selectmen and take the 15 to 20 minutes that they go through this and explain why we put this up. And then if they take them off and they don't put them forward beyond that 97, right? Let's just move that up. Beyond anyone that has a budgetary impact, we've now taken that opportunity to get it out publicly, because we've lost that opportunity at the November town meeting. So yes, they have the final say on what they want to do, but we also can push the process of, okay, we're not going beyond this, but you're going to hear this and you're going to explain, and we can even go be prepared and say, we've put this on warrant articles for 6 town meetings and it hasn't been funded, and we just don't have the ability to fund it. I mean, the one thing that I think, and then we took the walkie-talkies off, and I understand what Jen's saying about the cafeteria tables. I think the roof.
Yeah.
That's my question is, if it's $25,000, I kind of put this in the same bucket as the walkie-talkies. I think that between all of the revolving accounts and the importance of that, to put that up for debate at town meeting, when in reality we can probably find a way to make it work. For $25,000, I think we should at least do the overlay.
Because the best case scenario, we're 3 years out on a new building.
Right.
Best case.
I think what on this, my thought on that one is, we vote to send it up tonight because we don't know what the estimate is on the other part of the building. If it stays at 25 or something in that range, if the other piece isn't significant, or if it comes back and they say, nope, that's fine and we can handle that, whatever the issues are in our operating budget, then we could take that down. But I would, if it comes something back significant, then we at least have it up there. But for the 25, I think we need to do it.
That's not an option.
No.
Replacing auditorium lighting and seating it is optional. It would be nice to get it done, but that is not an option for us. So I say we put them all up.
Absent the walkie-talkie.
No, absent the walkie-talkie.
And the roof. Oh, no, we're putting the roof up, right?
We put the roof up because
Yep.
things could
Roof
change
up,
next week.
Yep.
I said we put them all up, and then going into it, realizing that they're probably not gonna put anything forward, and we go there prepared and make our case. And then let them say no. Let them explain no.
Reopening the budget.
What's the, I don't understand the implication of opening budget.
So there was a push by the selectmen at the end of last year in May, right up to town meeting, to take the $70,000
Yeah.
in new money and allocate it to, or most of it, to two other departments and two other line items in the budget. And it completely ignored the school budget. And I personally was very public about my opposition to that. Without knowing exactly what's going to be on the warrant or how it's going to be approached, the concern that I had originally was if there was an article put forth that opened the budget for the sole purpose of increasing funds for 1, 2, 3 different line items that was written so narrowly that it couldn't be amended and the school budget was off the list, we would not be in a position to advocate for anything else. Therefore, putting this forward so that that protected the ability to have an option for the school budget line item to be addressed. That's why I asked Nancy to put it on our list. I'm not advocating that the budget be reopened at all. I don't think the 70,000 is worth reopening the budget for. And if the selectmen keep to just putting emergency and unforeseen things up, there's no reason. The November town meeting, to the point they made last night, was, and it's true, the November became an annual town meeting because there were multiple special town meetings that were called for to address emergency situations that we couldn't get enough people for a quorum. So they made the November town meeting an annual one to address, so that we could address emergency or unforeseen needs without the concern of getting a quorum. Over the last few years, the items that are put forth on the November town meeting have expanded to be basically the same type of items that you see in May with the exception of the budget. And their intent, as I described it last night, was to go back to emergency only. So that's the gist of that article.
Mr. Chair, oh, may I just ask, the 70,000, since if the budget is not reopened, that 70,000 flows into free cash?
Correct.
Okay,
A
thank
year
you.
from now.
So I would be in favor of putting that one forward as for the same reason that you put it on, as a protective measure in case they put forward a warrant article to reopen the budget. And then as this process, so we would get some visibility into whether they put one forth prior to town meeting. So if we have the opportunity to be able to withdraw it or to talk to FinCom about just dismissing it, then no harm in leaving it there. And then, like you said, the whole reason you put it on there is to allow us to open it if we need to.
Sean? Thoughts? Okay.
How are you gonna word it?
Hmm?
How are you gonna word it? Don't you have to use numbers?
Not yet.
Okay.
It can be generic enough, just like what they voted last night for the land swap was generic.
Okay.
It can be wordsmithed and exact dollars don't have to be
Fair enough.
finite yet.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Catalano?
I make a motion that we put forward all of the warrant articles listed, with the exception of the Article 97 land swap and the walkie-talkies for security, to the Board of Selectmen for consideration.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Thank you all. Next in our packets, there's a list of our schedule for the next year. With potential topics, there's a couple that I already jotted down that we'll add in terms of timing. So probably at our October 18th meeting, we'll add a presentation on the land swap article. Probably either, well, maybe multiple, but at a minimum at our April 4th or April 11th meeting, we will do a presentation on the school building override vote.
What was that date? I'm sorry.
One of the April meetings, either the 4th or the 11th, most likely. And obviously, by the time we get to there, there'll be multiple public forums and, you know, but
We need to have a full.
we'll have a formal one here as well. Maybe it doesn't raise to the kind of generic topic as these do on here, but one other item Nancy and I briefly talked about that I wanted to put on there, more of a simple agenda item, but a report on our fee-based programs and the delinquencies in the various programs, and how we are enforcing policies to ensure that delinquencies are treated consistently. For example, I only know because my daughter was at one of the concussion meetings, and coming out of last year, our athletic delinquency in payments had reached $11,000 for the program. So the school, you know, working to work with families and collect. So I think it would be good for us to, on all our programs, exactly kind of what the normal kind of routine and rate is.
Is anyone being kept from playing
Well,
or
that's
participating?
the other half of the question, is to make sure that if we have these delinquencies and that plans or efforts to work with families are not working, that every one of these programs is consistently applying the policy of limiting access.
Because if we're doing it for kindergarten, we
Correct.
need to do it for football and cross-country.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
And I hope if we're going to look at that, I hope we're looking at that sooner than later. We don't want something to drag out.
So, if anybody has either anything now that jumps out at them that they want to add, or you look at it and have other topics you want to add, just shoot Nancy and I an email, and we can squeeze it on. That's mine. Next, we'll go to subcommittee reports, so the elementary school building.
Well, it's been a busy spring. Well, actually, the last time we met was June 21st. So when we met, we were a week out from voting an option that is no longer the option that was presented to the MSBA. We had one C3, and although there was a unanimous vote and there was no dissension within the 15 to 20 people in the room, shortly after our meeting on the 21st, a petition was authored by 60 to 70 people who live in the Monroe-McCabe area with concerns about the impact of 1C3 in traffic. We brought a traffic engineer out to do an additional study and conversations with the working group. We then had a meeting with the open to anyone, but with the residents. It was, I think, a 2-hour meeting. It was a long meeting where there was could have been 3 hours. It was a very long meeting, and everyone had their opportunity to voice their concerns. We took it under advisement, and then the chair of the elementary school building committee, Wayne Klocko, who's also the chair of the permanent building committee, called for another meeting of the elementary school building committee, of voting members and non-voting members. We went through it again, and the decision was made to go with 1B2, which is effectively, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't look much different, but it keeps the traffic on this side of the campus. It takes more of the knoll. The right decision was made at that moment because of the phasing and the impact on the town fields, and we chose to go with 1C3, but we were very in tune to what the residents wanted. Another vote was taken, and we put that in, we put it 1B2, sorry, 1B2. And since then, we submitted the preferred design application. Schematic. Preferred design schematic. There was a meeting last Wednesday at the MSBA, which was the staff reviewed it. There was one member of the committee, of the formal committee, and then there was staff there. And it was a review with a 10-minute presentation, 20-minute total. It went very well, and and Mr. Klocko mentioned this last night at the Board of Selectmen, but I will echo it. Some of the quotes was this is one of the best applications they had seen in a while. As a matter of fact, the education plan was the best that they've ever seen, and they are thinking about using it as the model education plan for the website. So there'll be districts copying and pasting our education plan, and the board member, Terry Kwan, who is an educator and in real estate, was so impressed with the education plan and the application as a whole, was willing and is going to actively pursue telling young families to move to Millis because of the school system. And we were told after the meeting, and then subsequently after the meeting, that is out of the ordinary, that does not happen. She's usually finding a lot of things that she certainly had her amount of questions, but that level of positivity is generally not seen. And Mr. Klocko in the lobby talked to the project managers and to the architects and said, "You guys did a great job." And I reminded him in a very collegial way that if not for the work of Nancy and Jason and the administrators and the teachers and the staff in these buildings, that plan would not be as strong as it is. So what I think we knew for a long, long time and felt for a long time was given a very public seal of approval by a board that is, we had another conversation today. We see no issues with our plan, and we see no issues with the building. It's really going to come down to what a land swap and getting the town to approve the largest budget item in the history of this town. So it was very good news, and I thank Nancy and commended her on the work that her and Jason did, not only just for the application, but the day-to-day in and out running of the schools and the educational vision and delivering high-quality education with not a lot of money. So the process going forward, as the chair mentioned, we need to do a land swap. We took the first vote in the Maytown meeting authorizing the town to pursue the land swap. We now need to go to the EOA, the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs. So basically what we have to do, not to get dragged into the 97D, is we have to identify what is the parkland that we're going to take for the building, which we now have a better idea because now we have a design. and where we're going to replicate it. And it appears from discussions is that we can replicate it right here in the campus. Cassidy Field is an option, and so we're going to have an informal conversation with the EOA, and then we need to have a town vote, which is just the second of which will be 3, to then pursue what land swap we have detailed. Am I missing things?
Yeah.
We have the land swap, we had the initial review by the MSBA. There's plenty of work to be done, but the first test has been passed swimmingly. Thank you, Nancy, and Jason, for the hard work that you guys have put into it.
Thank you.
I think that's it, Mark. Anything on that?
Just to add on the 97 land swap, so what the vote at town meeting in November will be is to approve the town to request of the state legislature to do this land, authorize this land swap. What's kind of becoming imperative of this is the legislature doesn't return to session until January. So, and it could take a little bit of time. So that's why it is so important that it was on the November town meeting, so that we can be ready literally on January 3rd or whatever day they come back to have the process kick off that first day. And I know the committee's already been in conversations with Representative Linsky, and sure we can reach out to our other reps and senators to help move that forward. Come January.
So I anticipate the question that we'll get at November town meeting is what's the difference between what we voted in May and what we're voting on now? People were confused back when we did vote on it. And there is a lot of importance for people to show up at the November meeting to vote on this, just as important as it was in May.
Well, to be fair, or to be upfront, is that the committee, the elementary school building committee, is very overdue in getting information out and update to the community. And that is one of the first steps that we're going to take as the school year, once we get kids back in school, is that a lot has happened between June 15th and August 30th. But it wasn't right up until last week that we really had an idea. We wanted, a couple things had to go into place, but so we just need a general overview, and then Selectman McCaffrey was asking a lot of questions last night, and they were all very good questions. And what the feeling was, just get it on the town meeting, and we will start that process of question and answers and really detailing the process to date and what's going forward. So no, that is part of the plan. We're gonna have to re-educate and explain what's going on, but there's a big communication, multiple phase communication that is being planned and will have to be delivered in the near future.
Correspondence.
In your packets, you have the agenda or a memo describing from Joan Lynn what took place yesterday, where we had basically ran a conference for teachers with a kickoff and then 12 breakout sessions that kind of ran like an ed camp all around universal design for learning, and gave staff members opportunities to learn from each other and share their best practices. And then they came together at the end of the day and had about a half an hour to put together in a group a skit or something that showed what their learnings were from the day. So it was a fun way to end the day. A lot of good learning and a lot of good laughter. You also have a memo on the CPR review, the coordinated program review, that includes Title I program monitoring that will take place this year, and we have to submit the information on our Title I program because it is a federal program by December 2nd. Joan Lynn is also in charge of the Title I program. We do have a letter of resignation from our vision teacher, part-time teacher of the visually impaired, who has taken a job closer to home. And we wish her well. It's a very difficult hire, so Dr. Marks is working on that to, if we have to go out for consultation services and hire a consultant for this, which we don't want to do, but it will be significantly more expensive than the salary, what we have in our budget for the salary. But we did get some good news that we've had actually 4 or 5 students return to us. You'll get a full enrollment update. It takes all of September to settle in. Kids still come and go a lot in September, but we do know we have 4 or 5 students returning to us from out-of-district placements and Norfolk Aggie, and from Tri-County. So we'll give you a full update then.
School committee announcements?
Welcome back to school.
All right. We don't have any old or new business?
Yeah, just a question, we removed the walkie-talkies, I believe, from the warrants, but I don't think a formal motion was made to purchase them.
You are correct. We did not.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we authorize the superintendent to purchase walkie-talkies. Do we want to give you more than 5, up to 70?
20 walkie-talkies and a value up to $7,500. So it's only 20. And as long
Is
as
20 the right number, Nancy?
That should be, but if you can leave the number out, it should be enough.
You want
But
to spend up to 75?
Yeah.
You okay with something?
well, if it's
7,500 should do.
Purchase walkie-talkies up to the amount of $7,500.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
I'll now take a motion to go to executive session for the purpose of contract negotiation for paraprofessionals and the discussion of the Millis teachers' grievance.
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote. Jen?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Denise?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all very much. We will not be coming back to open session, and our next meeting is scheduled for September 20th.